It's time for Community Matters on Y101. Today's show is brought to you by these great sponsors: Appling Healthcare in Baxley, Vidalia Federal in Vidalia and Lyons, Johnson & Johnson Transport in Uvalde, and by Todd Padgett Housing Center in Claxton. Now let's talk about what's happening in our community with your host, Tony Doc Wardlaw.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to this edition of Community Matters. I'm your host, Tony Doc Wardlaw. It is good to have you traveling with us this morning. Good to have you back with us on this beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm just grateful that God just keeps giving us these beautiful Wednesday mornings, Scott. And we are extremely blessed this morning to have a special guest. We've been trying to get her for some time, and we have her on this morning, thankfully. The one and the only, the illustrious, none other than the lady herself, Miss Andrea Hinojosa.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
We're good. We're good this morning.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're wondering what the tension is in the room, we just got her in the studio and we put her right to the microphone and said, "Let's go on the air." So I'm trying to give you a little moment here to breathe, Andrea, but it's just good to have you in the studio.
And it's good to wake up this morning and look up and say, "Lord, thank you." Thank you for waking me up.
Well, for those of you who do not know, Andrea is the director, the outreach director and co-founder of the Southeast Georgia Communities Project here in our great community, located here in Lyons, Georgia. And she has been a part of that organization now since 1995. So 27 years and going.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Amen. Amen.
So now you co-founded this program.
Yes, I did. I started off as a community organizer.
Okay.
With the area health education centers and health education and training centers. It was a job as a community organizer, and one of my tasks was to start a nonprofit targeting the Latino community in a tri-county area. The three poorest counties in the southeast area of the state of Georgia.
Wow.
Which were Candler, Toombs, and Tatnall. Back then, in that time, that's how it was labeled. We were able to do that with a group of board of directors that I'm the community people that were interested in seeing this blossom. We were able to create this.
So you saw a need within the community.
We conducted a 450 household study in the three counties, and we found the needs that were more important to our communities. And of course, back then, looking at the African American community and the Latino community, because it was kind of geared towards communities of color. And this is what we found. We found that these were some of the needs that we needed to focus on: HIV prevention, health promotion, chronic condition, chronic diseases, and the need for access to food and emergency clothing, kind of needs. And this is what we created. And it's been in function for this long. Thank the Lord. Although that the economy has been really crazy, and in 2008 when it crashed, a lot of funding was depleted and ended for nonprofit organizations doing health promotion. And we had to really tighten up. We had to figure out how we were going to continue functioning. We completed our service with some of the federal grants that we had, and we moved on, basically, as a volunteer organization. We're lucky to still be here because many of our sister organizations closed their doors. We're still standing.
And you're still standing.
And I think that we're standing because we've had community support.
There you go.
We've had other folks that have known us nationwide and statewide that have came out for us and that have supported our mission. And our faces have changed, Tony. Our faces have changed because we were focused on Latino farm workers in our community. That's Latino/farm workers, anybody that worked in farm.
Everybody that worked in
And we've changed that look now. You know, we're helping the general public, mainly disabled and elderly in our community, and probably about 30-40% Latino that we serve. So that considers us to be an organization serving the general community now, and it's our mission. It's our mission to serve those in need, because that is part of our mission statement. And the vision that we have is to make sure that no one goes hungry in all our communities. You know, we are concerned about so many outside situations that we're not focused on what is here locally. And it's not folks that don't want to work, it's folks that have already worked and given to us.
So let me ask you, the project, it started out to help the Latino community. Was it primarily a food bank at that time, or is that part of the evolution?
It's part of the evolution. The purpose of our service was to provide a language link.
Okay.
To be the medical interpreters. You know, when I arrived here in 1985, I would walk up to different offices, state offices, had signs, if you don't have an interpreter, you're not going to be served.
Oh, wow.
And those are things that I started kind of looking at as, you know, an issue to access, to access health care, access services, you know, Medicaid for our U.S. citizen children, access any kind of benefit out there that needed to be accessed because you were not in the right language link.
Right. So you were providing a service to bridge that gap.
We bridged that gap, and on top of that, we were able to provide other services like, you know, an emergency food basket, or maybe a clothing closet that we started. And we were even provided ESL classes, English as a second language classes. We had volunteer teachers that were coming in to provide classes at night. You know, my mission was to help these folks learn the language, so we wouldn't have the barriers that were in existence, you know, and to eradicate that barrier that was in existence.
So how many languages do you speak?
I speak two. I speak two. And one little maybe French word. But two languages, English and Spanish, very fluent. I'm a native Texan. I was born in Sinton, Texas, and I call myself a transplanted onion because, you know, we're in competition. The Texas Suite. But, you know, we are folks that have had to struggle too, because we come from a farm worker background. My family was a farm worker. We were migrant farm workers. We travel up the East Coast to work, and you know, my dad was quite older than my mom, so we stopped traveling around when I was like 16 years old, and you know, I decided to think that I was old enough to move on.
How did you get from Texas to Lyons, Georgia?
Well, migrating. My uncle was a crew leader in Dade City, Florida, and he brought us to Florida to work in the orange groves. I was little. I was only 8 years old when we left Texas. And we resided there in Florida. Following work. We stayed there in Florida until I was about 16. Until 16. And during that time of 8 to 16, we traveled to North Carolina, you know, to work, you know, harvesting pickles. Well, little cucumbers, y'all call them. We call them pickles. Pickles when they're pickles in the jar, but but the little pickles, you know. We would harvest tobacco. You know, we would cut suckers off the tobacco. We'd do tomatoes. We'd do all kinds of stuff. We did do a little traveling.
I've done a little tobacco work in my days.
It's the ugliest thing you can really do.
Don't want to go back.
No, sir. Don't be trying to look pretty out there in that field, because you're going to walk out with some long lashes
that ain't happening.
Stiff hair.
Wow, this is good. We've come a long way.
Yes, we have.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't realize that we have a very diverse community here.
Very much.
And so you talk about the different ethnicities, but we have a really strong Hispanic population.
We do, and we have to also understand that among the Hispanic population, there's so many different cultures in there, and different people from the different countries.
Right.
And we're not aware that there's a multitude of dialects that are spoken. So sometimes, even if we are the interpreters for the community, we have to be cautious of how we speak to the different different cultures, and the different folks from the different countries, because they all speak a different dialect, a different Spanish. Some of them barely speak Spanish. Guatemalan community is a little difficult to kind of grasp when you're speaking to them. So it does. It makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference, and a lot of us really don't understand that.
We don't understand it. I think we forget that outside of them having these barriers, they are givers in this community. They are the folks that help move that engine, the work, and their work ethics are extreme. These people know how to work. They know how to get out there and earn their living. And it's you ask any farmer. Ask any farmer.
Well, I have talked to a few, and this is good. I'm having a good time, Andrea. We want to take a break, and we're going to come back and want to ask you some more about the future things that the project has, and we want to talk about some of the ways that people can help support the agency. Right after these messages, we'll come back. So don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back and continue to talk with Andrea Hinojosa.
Smarter, not harder. Here at Vidalia Federal, we are all about that phrase as we strive to make your life easier. No more drowning in paperwork or being interrogated over the idea of buying a house. Getting a home loan should be an enjoyable, simple process, not a daunting task. This is Julia McKenzie with Vidalia Federal Savings Bank, and I am here to make the mortgage process easy and simple. Come see me at the Vidalia branch on Jackson Street to talk about your next home purchase or refinance. I look forward to serving you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We don't need a calendar to tell us that summer is here. Just go outside and you'll know it's getting hot, hot, hot. This is Anthony J. with Todd Patchett Housing Center, and we're inviting you to beat the heat in one of our beautiful homes from Cavalier, Clayton, Deer Valley, Live Oak, Scott Build, or Southern Energy Homes. We build all of our homes a lot more energy efficient than they would have normally come. So stop by Todd Patchett Housing Center in Claxton, Georgia, and pick out your energy savings dream home from our massive selection. Todd Patchett Housing Center. All your housing solutions under one roof.
Dorothy Davis with Southeastern Business Solutions here, specializing in website services, graphics management, and video editing. We have partnered with TCB Broadcasting to bring your sponsorship ads to life with their live on-air programs, which are recorded and archived along with your sponsorship ads as they were aired at the time of production. These programs are viewable by anyone at any time from anywhere on major social outlets like YouTube or Facebook, to include TCBBroadcasting.com's website. That's a lot more viewing potential, more than you would get than with a still banner that's only viewable by website visitors. With this kind of viewing potential, you want to make sure your ad says a lot more than a simple animated logo can say. These services are only available on TCBBroadcasting.com, and the spots are limited. So reach out to your TCB Broadcasting account executive and get yours locked in as soon as possible. You can bring your own video with you, or you can email Dorothy at southeasternbusinesssolutions.com, and you and we can put our creative minds together to come up with the perfect ad that says the perfect message and gets you the perfect attention.
Welcome back to this edition of Community Matters. I'm your host, The Doc, and we have with us in the studio none other than the one and the only, Miss Andrea Hinojosa. Do you like how I...
Hinojosa? Yeah, you're right. You got it on the dot.
as just talking about the Southeast Georgia Communities Project. You're enlightening us this morning to some things that maybe some people have not even thought about. The varying cultures within the Latino population. And so if it's a barrier for you in your interpretation, then I can only imagine how wrong some of us have been getting it.
Well, and you know what, that we need patience. We need to understand that not even qualified interpreters are experts in communication efforts. We have been qualified interpreters for almost 3 decades, and it takes a lot to become a qualified interpreter.
Right.
And a lot of folks believe that, oh, you speak Spanish, you can help me with this. And, we've had incidents where the hospitals or the doctor's offices will call us because, the patient is not understanding or the patient has received wrong interpretations about their condition, and then they come to us and say, I didn't understand what I had to do, I didn't understand how I needed to take my meds, I didn't understand. Thank the Lord for some of these pharmacies that have started to put their medications labels in Spanish, and that helps, the patients. But sometimes they don't even know why they're taking it, so we have to kind of clarify that sometimes, and it gets difficult. It gets difficult. It's difficult on us, because it's a lot of pressure. We want to get it right.
Yeah.
And we're not perfectionists, but we want to get it right. And, we wish that everybody would understand. We hope that everybody understands in our communities that just because you're bilingual or you speak Spanish, that doesn't make you a person able to take on such a difficult task.
Absolutely.
Medical terminology is difficult. Medical interpretation is difficult.
One of the reasons why you told the listeners earlier that we've been trying to get you on the show is because one of the things that I like to do with the Community Matters is just kind of show the diversity of our community and really kind of do what you've talked about, bridging the gap to help us all come to a better understanding in order to make our community much better. And as you talk about the different cultures, it comes to mind as we travel across the nation, my brothers and I, and we travel extensively. There are certain places where we go throughout this nation where, coming from the South, we run into culture shock.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, there are places that if you ask for grits, they have no idea what you're talking about. It's real.
I mentioned earlier that I was a native Texan, but I'm going to tell you, when I go to Texas, South Texas, I go into culture shock because you can walk into a Walmart and you could and you're being greeted in Spanish.
Yeah, that's right.
And everybody is, you have to keep yourself, okay, don't speak too much, because everybody understands what you're saying, and it's a little different.
Yeah.
I'm ready to come back home. This is home now. 37 years living in this community, to me, is home.
Yes.
And we'll probably end up staying here for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
And, that's the way it is, and as long as the Lord gives us the opportunity to help those in need, we're going to continue doing it.
Well, you recently received recognition for your long-standing of work that you've been doing here in the community. I'm sure you've gotten several awards. How does it feel to be rewarded for the work that you do?
You know what? The award that I received recently is special.
Okay.
It's a local. It's a local award.
Wow.
I've been nationally recognized. I've been recognized, statewide. I've had a lot of awards in my lifetime. But you know what? We're like that. There's a saying, and I'm going to blow it out of the water because I don't know it very well, but we're like that toad that don't know how to blow our own, that don't know how to make our own, how to praise our own pond.
Exactly.
We don't know how to praise our own pond. We don't know how to get out there and, toot our own horn, We don't know how to do that. Our job is to help And if I can see, right now my office is probably packed with people waiting for food, and they're gonna start, we don't have very many volunteers, so the people that are out there really work hard, to try to get the cars out. But, it's really difficult to stand back and wait and go and ask for help, or go ask for money, or go ask for, and it's a very tiresome situation. And as an executive director of a nonprofit organization, that's what I've done all my life.
Wow.
But I've done it on a bigger scale. And now that we're here looking at ourselves, in a situation we're in now, where we're volunteers, we don't get paid to be there anymore. It becomes a little more difficult, because you're trying to deal with what you have there, and you're trying to make sure you can reach the need that you need to reach, and give what you need to give. And it makes it difficult, to go out there and ask for money. Right now we're we're doing our United Way campaign, and I'm very supportive of that, and we want to make sure we get people to support it, because that's how we get funded. We get a little bit of money from them so we can help, the community. And believe it or not, Tony, we're at a ratio right now of 40 families per morning.
Oh, wow.
We only serve from 9 to 12.
Wow.
We can't do any more than that. We don't have the money to do more than that. But you'd be surprised.
And these are families from all throughout our community.
Yes, throughout our community.
A lot of these are elderly persons who've worked all their lives, but
all their lives, and now they're struggling, Tony.
Just caught up to them.
They're having to decide, and this is what I hear from them when I get a chance to talk. We have to decide if we want to go get our medication, or buy food. And food is so expensive, Tony. You can't go to the store. I'm reaching to the choir, I know. You can't go to the store with $100 anymore.
No, not anymore.
You even buy the basics. And it is, I can only feel, I can only feel them. I can feel their heart. I can feel that they have a need that is not being met, and it's not fair. That they have worked all their life, and now they're elderly, and they don't have a whole lot to show for.
Well, we can feel your passion, and we are grateful to have you. You have a fan here, and we admire you. And how can we, if anyone's listening and they want to help and support, how would they go about doing that?
First of all, you can either do food drives. You can do food drives, and you can bring the food to our agency. You can make a contribution, a monetary contribution, to 300 South State Street in Lyons.
Okay.
Made out to Southeast Georgia Communities Project. You can even bring your clothing that you don't want, your items that you don't need in your home anymore, bring them to our office. We do clothing giveaways. We try to do it once a month, but it doesn't happen like that all the time, because we're very, very busy. But any way, shape, or form that you want to donate, we're able to give you a tax write-off, if nowadays we can use it or not. But we will accept what you give, and we will take that money, and you give me $5, I'm going to turn it into 10. Okay? That's just the way it goes, and I'm not going to go gamble it now. But you know what?
But you've got that,
but we have that
kind of support.
The Second Harvest Food Bank is the food bank that supplies us, and we can buy a lot with $5, believe it or not. And if that's the way we got to go that way. We got to go that route. We also want to thank St. Mary's on the Hill in Augusta, because they're out of our area, but they provide us, with a substantial amount of donation to help our community. And they're way over there. And we're here, so, because somebody saw the need, came down and saw the need, they put that in their will, that when they died, they were going to, this church was going to help this organization.
Well, we have a very supportive community, and I know you know this. That's been your mainstay for these 27 years. For those who are listening, if you want to support, again, that is, take your donations to 300 South State Street, and there you will see the Southeast Georgia Communities Project. You can also go to the website, which is www. Is that
segcp.org.
segcp.org. segcp.org, which again stands for Southeast Georgia Communities Project. .org, and you can go there and you can contact them. The phone number is 912-526-5451.
Correct.
And you can give your support. Anything coming up in the future that we need to know about?
Well, we have a vaccination clinic that's
Okay.
going to be sponsored by the Hispanic Community Fund, and they will be there at our agency from 10 to 3 on October the 8th and the 29th.
Okay.
So if you have not gotten your booster and you want to get it, you can come get it there, totally free.
Okay.
And we've got other events. We're going to be, trying to see if we could participate in a Thanksgiving basket relief. If there's a needy family in the community, they can call and sign up. We don't have a whole lot of spots because we've got limited funding, but we take in families that are really needy, and we want to be able to do that. And that goes through Sacred Heart Catholic Church.
Okay.
We will gather everything up, and then they help us dispense it, So,
Wow.
and they pay for it. They pay for most of the cost there. So, you see, we've got some local churches that help us, The Baptist Church has helped us a lot. The Methodist Church, Calvary has helped us. We've had some good little support, from these churches, and we appreciate that. We really do.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. We really do appreciate all that you do, and thank you for coming in and sharing with us. We want to stay in touch. We want to know what's going on with the program, and as you have different things, make sure you let us know here at the station so that we can get the word out.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us. Being here with us, and it's just been a pleasure. Thank you, Scott, for all you do, and certainly we thank you, Dorothy Davis, for the recordings, and you can go back and take a look at this archive on our website at tcbbroadcasting.com, tcbbroadcasting.com, and you can listen down to this interview again, and also there's a snapshot of this beautiful lady so that you see her out in the public. You can tell her thank you and congratulate her on her rewards. Glad to see Robin walk in this morning, and I'm your host, the Doc, and this has been Community Matters. We'll be back again on next week, and I look forward for you being with us as we continue to talk about this great community in which we live. Everyone have a good day.
You've been listening to Community Matters, a service of TCB Broadcasting. Today's show was brought to you by Todd Padgett Housing Center in Claxton, Johnson & Johnson Transport in Uvalde, Vidalia Federal in Vidalia and Lyons, and by Appling Healthcare in Baxley. Tune in next week at 8:15 during Y101's live morning show for another special guest. We'll talk about what's happening right here in our home